Adesemoye. Nice having you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You are looking very handsome.
See that.
Thank you very much. These are the sir.
Thank you.
Welcome to development segment on the platform of TNN TV channels. I am Sheon Akinde, your host for today. On the international personality interview for today, we have with us one of Nigeria's very respected gentleman, a philanthropist par excellence, a man of timber and caliber, a man who has transferred from the east, west, north to the south of the nation, a man who has traveled wide and near, a man whose interest is all about building and rebuilding people, a man who believes so much in developing his fatherland. This is one of the few that believe in a better Nigerian. A better Nigeria for all Nigerians, a better Nigeria for the upcoming generation. Ladies and gentlemen, join me today as I bring to the show Honorable Engineer Adesemoye Adedapo.
I greet you. Thank you very much.
Today is an history making. Having you on this platform, a lot of Nigerians has actually been agitating and yearning for a time like this to bring you on this very segment where you're going to unleash some of the things that you are embedded with. And today, we have it a reality done. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
For us, we know you too well, but for the benefit of a layman in the society, especially in Africa, I would love you to do proper justice to your nomenclature.
Okay. Once again, thanks for making it possible for me to have this opportunity to, in a way, voice out my profile and how it can actually inspire the upcoming generation. I will start by properly introducing myself, which is the normal thing to do. My name is Adesemoye Adedapo Olasende. I am native of Ondo town in Ondo State. My permanent residential address is actually in Ondo town in Ondo State. Yes, I have a house in Ibadan and in Lagos, but I would just want Nigerians to know, for reasons I will explain later, that Ondo is actually my permanent home address. I was born in central London. To be precise, Hammersmith Hospital in central London. But thanks to God and thanks to my parents, myself and my siblings were made and trained to know that we are Nigerians. So I was brought back to Nigeria at the age of 5. And most of my youth was actually spent in Ibadan in Oyo State. My primary school education was in Kobo Research Institute of Nigeria, Idia in Ibadan. I proceeded from there to Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo. From Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo, the next journey was where I had what we call HSC in those days, A levels. And that was in Baptist High School, Iwo. From Baptist High School, Iwo, I was admitted into the first university in Nigeria, to date, which I believe is most prestigious university in Africa, University of Ibadan. My first degree was a BSc in agriculture with specialty in agronomy. So you can actually refer to me as an agronomist. So on graduation, mandatorily you have to do NYC. And that is a program that till today I still cherish very much. For the first time in my life, that program, NYC, took me to northern Nigeria. I actually served in Kaduna, and that was in 1987. When we started our service, Katsina State and Kaduna was one state. Everything was Kaduna State. It was during our service year that Katsina State was created. And one peculiar thing about our own NYC set, I want Nigerians to take note of this. We, in the history of Nigeria, are the only set that spent 5 weeks in orientation camp. It was actually supposed to be 6 weeks, but they cut it short when we spent 5 weeks, and the federal government now reverted back to the normal 4 weeks, the way it is today. So that is my educational journey in Nigeria. After service, I went back to Britain, and I was given a British scholarship. I actually qualified for that scholarship being a British citizen and a graduate. And I took the opportunity to go into information technology. That was when, I will say, career-wise, my life changed. I was trained, the first certification or degree, I will put it that way, that I got in computing was a higher national diploma in programming, specializing in Kobo programming. And that was how I got into the information technology sector. I want to spell something out just for our audience to know my journey in the IT field. When I started IT training, there was no Windows-based operating system in the world. The operating system then was MS-DOS and Unix. There were some other operating systems as well that are very high level, but they are not actually client-based then. So it was during my training after qualifying to be a computer programmer that Windows now came on board. Apple came on board, and that was how the evolution of a Windows operating system started. So in the IT field, to cut the long story short, I think I've worked in all sectors of IT. I started, like I told you, a programmer. Programmer is what people refer to as software engineers. But I didn't stop at that. I trained to be a systems engineer. There was this certification that was introduced to the world there, which is called MCSC. I am a certified Microsoft Systems engineer. And I proceeded to have 13 other professional qualifications in the IT field. Interesting. But most time in my working career, I decided to do software related and system engineering related jobs on contract basis. As a result of that, this took me to so many countries in my working career. I have contracted in Germany with Siemens. I have contracted in France in Ford. I have contracted in Belgium, and that was with the biggest bank in Europe, that is BNP Paribas Fortis. And my last contract, which actually lasted 5 years and 4 months, was in IKEA in Sweden. That contract came to an end exactly August 31st, 2022. But while I was doing this, being a contractor, I was always in Nigeria a week or 2 weeks in a month. So that made me to be a frequent traveler. And the reason why is this: while doing that, my belief and my target is to invariably live permanently in Nigeria, to invest in Nigeria no matter what. And here I am today. I incorporated my company in 1993 in name of Omato Ventures Limited. So while I was contracting, I had 2 offices in Ibadan. We were doing IT stuff.
That was about 30 years ago.
Yes, that's 1993. That's 30 years ago. We were doing IT stuff. When mobile technology came on board, I was actually the first distributor of Glow in Ibadan. While I was doing that, I had, because my passion since when I was very small was agriculture. So I never left agriculture. So I became like a farm produce broker, majorly in palm oil. So I've actually been selling palm oil for the past 19 years. So while contracting abroad, my business here was thriving as well. Because I know then that invariably at a certain age, 100% I will be in Nigeria. Last year, by God's grace, I thank God, I turned 60 years old. And my plan was, after that age, no more contracting abroad. That is to show people that I believe in this country. I know I'm using this opportunity to introduce myself, but I also want to use this opportunity to educate our youths. Yeah, so the reason why I'm giving this in-depth introduction about myself is to use this opportunity to inspire and motivate youths to believe in Nigeria. When I see Nigerians complaining about our dear country, at times I tend to laugh about it, at times I become very sad about it. Wherever you go in the world, I've been almost everywhere. I've been almost every continent. Wherever you go in the world, every society has its advantage and disadvantage. I know people will be surprised by my next statement. I cannot live anywhere else in the world other than Nigeria. People will be telling you there are a lot of crimes, a lot of people are being killed. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. But crime exists in every society in the world. I had an argument sometimes, was it like 3 weeks ago, with some youths in Lagos. And I now prove it to them by just going on Google. The number of people that are being killed every year in the US from gunshots is 100 times more than people that are being killed in Nigeria every year. The number of thieves you have in Europe is far, far more than the number of thieves you have in Nigeria. country is so blessed. Please, use of Nigeria. Before you japa, think very well before you do that. Wherever you go, know where you will go in this world that is rosy. And to address Nigerians that are in diaspora, please, when you phone home, tell people at home the reality of what is on ground wherever you are. Because most of you don't. You paint a picture of a perfect society, luring people to sell their land, their cars, their houses, to go and suffer in Europe or in other continents. If you plan to make it in life, everything has a price. When I got to London, while I was studying computer programming, the first job I did in my life was to wash plates and toilets in Cannon Street in central London. I was once a cab driver in London. But when they see us now, they think everything was rosy. If you want to follow the natural progression designed by God to make it in life, you will go through some pain. Anybody that tells you otherwise is deceiving you. Nigeria is one of the most naturally blessed and rich country in the world. But strangely to me, when you go to America, which I go so often, or countries in Europe, you will notice that there is a particular sector in Nigeria. They don't go abroad to do rough jobs. I am a Yoruba man. If you go to Belgium, you go to Holland, you go to London, most Nigerians you will see there who are graduates doing rough jobs are mostly Yoruba and Igbos. This is a fact. If anybody has any contradictory fact, I will be happy to go into a debate with that person. You will hardly see a northerner strangely going to Europe to wash plate. I have not seen it before. So the question is why? Why? Let us be frank. I am not a tribalist. I will say it the way it is. The northerners believe in Nigeria more than us. And make no mistake. Maybe because I happen to be an agriculturalist. Naturally, you might not believe it. With the land mass in the north, they are more naturally rich than the south. Make no mistake about that. Because the resource that will last for life is agriculture, not oil and gas. The use of cars that uses diesel, that uses PMS, is now being discouraged in Europe because of the issue of climate change. Then we should all sit down. What do we think the price of crude oil will be in another 15 years? It might not be more than $10. Because everybody is moving towards green energy. The only resource that will be there for life if you invest wisely in it is agriculture. We have land to do agriculture on a large scale in Nigeria, and most of this land are in the north. Uncultivated land. But you will now notice that the elites in the north, even the eyes, are now getting off from agriculture. All they want now is oil and gas, oil and gas, oil and gas. If we do not go back to agriculture in this country, it is something I will wish to discuss later. We might have food insecurity problem in this country.